So actually, let's look at number 6. So here we're graphing conic sections. Okay, 5 and 6 we're graphing conic sections. Let's look specifically at number 6. It says y plus 3 squared over 25 minus x plus 1 squared over 4 equals 1. So the first thing we always had to do is recognize what shape is being listed there. Okay? Is it a parabola? Not a parabola. Okay? How do you know when you're looking at that, Kaylee, that it is not a parabola for number 6? Not just y first. Well, how many things are squared? They're both squared. So if they're both squared, not a parabola. So it's either an ellipse or a hyperbola. Hold up a 1 if you think it's an ellipse. Hold up a 2 if you think it's a hyperbola. 1 for ellipse, 2 for hyperbola for number 6. I'm seeing a little bit of both. Madeline, why is it a hyperbola and not an ellipse? Not just the y's first. That's the subtraction thing is the big thing. Y's first probably tells us, it helps us to get that idea, but it can be second and still be a hyperbola. It's the minus sign that matters. Okay? That's what tells me this is a hyperbola. So keep that in mind. Hey, I'm graphing a hyperbola. Okay? Next thing we're going to do is find the center. So Antonio, when you look at number 6, where's the center of my hyperbola going to be? -1, -3. Yes, you're correct. Let me make this bigger because it's too small for me. -1, -3. Where'd you get that from? Why isn't it -3, -1? The y is first. So he looked at this value, changed the sign, then that value changed the sign. There's his center dot. Okay? What do we do next, Charisse? We made our center dot. Then what do we got to do? Square root the 25 and 4. Very good. So we square root that 25 and we get 5, Amber. What is that 5 telling us to do? Where's it underneath? Is it underneath the x or the y? Up and down. You think it's underneath the y, so you think go on the y-axis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And then what do I do with that 4, Taylor Grace? Left and right, how much am I going to go? 2. Square root the 4 and go left and right 2. Boom, boom, there's my 2 dots. Okay? Great, we've gotten to that part. This is a hyperbola. So if I'm doing a hyperbola here, what do I need to do with those dots? Destiny, what do I need to do with those dots next to make this a hyperbola? Box it, yep. If it were an ellipse, I would just draw an oval around it. If it were a plus sign, I would do an oval. Okay, but it's a minus sign. That means I'm doing a hyperbola. I'm making a box. And then what, Tyler? Make my asymptote lines, the x's through the box from corner to corner. Okay, those are my guidelines to help me graph. Okay, then the very last thing we got to do is actually make the shape. Don't overthink it. Look at your formula sheets. It's a hyperbola. Is x first or y first? Y is first. That means it opens up or down. It says it right there on your formula sheet. Don't overthink it. It's a hyperbola. Y is first. It opens up and down. So remember how we graph that? We use these 2 points right here, and we're stretching to this graph to the asymptote lines. Questions there? Okay, the other one would be very similar to that, but there's that one. Questions on 6? We're going to skip 7 and 8, come back to them later. Let's jump on the back side of number 9. Okay, so we're skipping 6 and 8, or 7 and 8. We'll come back to them later. Let's go to problems. Problem number 9. So for problem number 9, we need to graph this. Okay, in order to graph any of the shapes in the conic section chapter, they had to be in standard form. Okay, is number 9 in standard form right now? No. The first thing we have to do is identify what shape is it going to be. Give me a 1 if you think it's a parabola, 2 if you think it's an ellipse, 3 if you think it's a hyperbola. 1 for parabola, 2 for ellipse, 3 for hyperbola. Give me a guess. Emily, you're saying it's a 1. Why do you think it's a 1 here? Only one thing is squared. That makes it a parabola. Okay, so this is a parabola here. Okay, we need to put this in standard form. So think in your brain that checklist. Organize it, fill in the blanks, make it pretty. Those were our checklists, the simple checklist we had here. Okay, so there's my equation. The first step is organize. So what are we going to do on this step to organize, Morgan? One's got to go to the other side. What else has to go to the other side? The 4x, because the only thing that's going to stay on this side are the squared things. So y squared is here, minus 6y is here, plus a blank, and nothing else is squared, so everything else has to go to the other side. So it's going to become negative 4x and negative 1 plus a blank. There's my organized step. I had to do that first. Step 2 is filling in the blanks. So Christy, what number do you think is going to go in my blank here? 9. Good. She took negative 6, you cut it in half, and you square it. So she puts a 9 there. She's going to put a 9 here as well. That was step 2, filling in the blank. Step 3 is making it pretty. So over here, we're making it y squared. Over there, we're going to make it something x. Okay, if you don't remember, look at your formulas to make sure you see it correctly. Aranza, what's going to go with my y here into my parentheses? Negative 3. She's taking her x or her b value and cutting it in half, and she's getting negative 3. Over here, I have negative 4x plus 8. But I need to make it look like this. The negative 4x plus 8 needs to look like that. Jenny, what am I doing with that negative 4x plus 8 here? What do I need to do to put it into this form? The negative 4 is going to go in front. Okay, we are factoring out the negative 4. So what's going to go with my x? Think what you're doing. You're factoring the negative 4 out. You're pulling it out in front. So what do I need to do with that 8 if I'm pulling a negative 4 out of it? Dividing it. We're dividing it. So what's it going to be? So, the negative 4. So it's going to be what? 8 divided by negative 2. Yep. Think about it. If you distributed it back in, it would be negative 4x plus 8, just like it said. All we're doing is just pulling out the common, or the thing they have in common. Okay, so it's negative 4x minus 2. That was putting it in standard form. If they asked us to graph it, let's go ahead and do that. If I'm graphing this, Tyler, where is the center or the vertex of my parabola going to be? Two to the right. Yeah, that was a weird way of saying it, but that worked. 2 to the right and up 3. He said the 3 was how much he went up and down because it's with his y, and the 2 is how much he went left and right because it's with their x. So 2 comma 3. Good. 2, 3. Okay? It is a y squared parabola. Okay? So y squared opens left or right. Okay? Is this one going to open to the right, or is this one going to open to the left? Why is it opening to the left? Because it's negative. Okay? Remember how we graph parabolas. It's been a minute. Okay? But we take this number and divide it by 4. And that tells you your a value. So my a value is negative 1. So I go to the left one and the right one. What's the dot on the left called? The one on the left is the focus because it opens left. And then the one on the right is the directrix. It's the line because it's behind it. And then the last thing we did was we graphed the width of the parabola. How wide is this parabola going to be altogether? 4. It's this number right here. That's the width of it. It's the lattice rectum. Okay, it's going to be a total of 4. So I need to go from my focus up to and down to parabola, parabola. been a while since we've done it. You've got number 10 next to it. So if you're struggling, try number 10 here in a second, and that will make you better. Other questions here? Let's go to number 11. 11 and 12, we are writing equations of the conic sections. This was the place where we struggled the most this year. Okay, at times. Some of us did at least. Write the equation of the hyperbola with vertices at 0 plus or minus 2. So 0 plus or minus 2, so those two dots. And foci at 0 plus or minus 7. Okay, we are writing the equation of a hyperbola. We can put that stuff right there in it. Okay, that is the basic equation of a hyperbola. That's what we need every single time. Okay, the first decision we need to make with this hyperbola is, does it open up and down or left and right? Point for me. Does this parabola or this hyperbola open up and down, or do you think it opens left or right? Point which direction do you think it opens? Up and down. Why do we think it's going to open up and down? The foci are up and down. Okay? So if it opens up and down, we look at our chart. Hey, y goes first, and then x. Okay? If it opens up and down, it's a y squared hyperbola first. Now we've got to fill in 3 numbers here, or really 4. We need to know where is the center. We need to know how much do I open up and down, and how much do I go left and right. Which one of those things is the easiest one to find? The center. Where's my center going to be? 0, 0. It's in the middle. Okay, my dots are focused around the middle. It's at 0, 0. So y minus 0, x minus 0, or plus 0, or nothing at all. Okay, if you're a good math student, you don't even write anything with it, because you know that minus 0 and plus 0 are just nothing. Okay, that's great. The next thing, which one's the next easiest one to fill in, the blue or the yellow number? Blue. The blue number is underneath the y, so it represents how far do you go up and down from the center to my foci or to my vertices? Vertices. Remember, the foci number, never go underneath here. Okay? From the center to my vertice right there is 2. So what number is going to go in the blue? Square it. It gets me 4. The yellow number is how much from the center did I move left and right. Right now, do I know how much I moved left and right? Don't know. So anytime I don't know a number, I don't know how much I went left and right, what am I going to use to help me? My foci equation. Your big number plus your small number equals c squared. Okay, since we're adding, it doesn't really matter which one's big and small. Okay, you're adding, it's all the same. So really, I could care less which one's big and small. Okay, but the blue and the yellow numbers added together is going to be equal to c squared. Okay, so 4 plus something needs to equal c squared. What is c squared again? What does that mean? The foci number squared. What is the distance to my foci? From the center to my foci, how far do I go? So what's my c squared number going to be? 4 plus something gets me 49. What is the missing number here? 45 is the missing number. Questions on that problem? Okay, it's been a while since we've done it, but that's all the conic sections for you.